Waiting a little longer than normal. Hi, I'm Jason Klom. I'm the host of the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. I notice that my phone, which is what I record this on, sometimes cuts me off at the beginning. So it's like, hi, I'm Jason Klom. So, hi, I'm Jason Klom. You can watch this, the full video of this on youtube.com/comedy on vinyl. And today, which is January 21st, 2017, I'm listening to comedy albums, a comedy album every day for all of 2017. I might do even more. If I miss one, maybe I'll catch up, but I doubt that I'm going to miss one. I've been pretty good so far. The one that I picked today in honor of the women's marches around the country and around the world. I've picked 1971's This Is a Recording by Lily Tomlin. Now, I have listened to her other albums, and this one's very early on. Might be her first. I apologize, I'm a little drunk. I didn't do my normal research. That said, it's a ton of fun. If you look on it, on the back, it's written by 8 people, including Lily Tomlin. It's based on her character Ernestine, who is fresh in the public's consciousness, having just premiered on TV very recently, and it's mostly there. Ernestine, who works for AT&T, Ma Bell, as they called it back then. That's what you called it. An old-fashioned operator. I mean, they still had operators in this ways at this time. Not long after this, 1971 couldn't have been much long after that we started getting electronic and then digital operators. I actually don't know where that came. I'm obsessed with old technology, and this is something I'm realizing I don't know. I actually just saw a video. Go to boingboing.com and look up. There's a recent video where it was an old silent film that instructs you how to dial your telephone, because dial telephones didn't exist until then, 1927. Anyway, fascinating stuff. This album is a lot of fun, but like I said, it's written by that many writers, so what are we talking about? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I literally just counted them earlier. 8 total writers, including Lily Tomlin, and it feels that way. It doesn't suffer from it necessarily, but there's a few things going on. Number one, they're capitalizing on a fun thing that people wanted to see. Number two, she knows all these comedy writers, and probably knew them before, but now she's got a team that can put this together. So it's very polished in terms of this is stuff that was put together specifically for this character, specifically for this performance, for a stage performance. It's recorded in the Ice House in Pasadena, actually. Yesterday I talked about Rob Paulson, one of my favorite guests on Comedy on Vinyl, but not whose album it was, Pat Paulson for President, which was recorded all over the place, but one of his other albums was recorded at the Ice House, which makes me think of this. I'm a little all over the place because I am a little drunk. It's Saturday night. What am I going to do, folks? Here we go. Just take a little sip. What's that? Oh, that's a mug for my one of my podcasts, Dispatches from Fort Awesome, a news radio podcast. That's right. We watch every episode of News Radio, talk about it with all kinds of people. Anywho, that's weird that I would bring that up. No, this is a very fun album. But like I said, it does feel very, very well put together. When I started listening to it, I'm like, Lily Tomlin's not appreciated for the kind of concept album she put together. And this is a concept album in that some people might say, oh, well, it's Bob Newhart. That's nope, didn't point at him right there. It's Bob Newhart. It's somebody talking on the phone. It's one half the conversation. Oh, it's Shelley Berman. Oh, it's George Jessel. It's its own thing because it's one character the whole time. That's what's different. And the thing that I love about it is that Ernestine is this representative of this incredibly kind of overbearing, creepy, scary private enterprise that can record your phone calls and blackmail you and just be rude and mean with complete impunity. And that's what's so much fun. And it makes you realize, where we are now, that at one point, this big corporation was this perfect representation of evil, and everybody's laughing so hard. I mean, they just completely relate to this feeling of, whether it was true or not, this feeling of being just overlooked because America's never had the huge problem with CCTV that they've had in other countries. So our thing's always been tapping phones. It's brought up to the point where she's threatening J. Edgar Hoover. How do I know that you're tapping the phones? Well, because we've been listening to your calls. That stuff's a ton of fun, and I'm laughing now thinking back on it because it's really well put together. Like I said, it's the one thing that is missing, and there's nothing wrong with it because her other albums are their own thing. I need to listen to more of them. But for instance, in one of her better known albums, she is You can tell that I can't remember the name of it because I'm drunk. I could pull it up over there, but I'm not going to. You know what, I will. Literally exactly what I thought it was called, On Stage, Lily Tomlin. In this one, it's very personal. I mean, it's because it's about her life, though. It does, it's very much sort of assignment comedy. This is right now with your character, mostly. I think there's maybe one on here where it's not. And there's some actual stand-up stuff where she talks about, the character. She gives some setup, gives some context and stuff. And stuff like that, and that's fun. But this On Stage is much more personal, and it's, I don't know, it's very near and dear to my heart now that I finally listened to it a few months ago, thanks to Mary Birdsong. She made me listen to it for the show Comedy on Vinyl. Made me listen to it. She suggested it, and so I finally listened to it. It was in my collection for so long, and it's just heartbreaking and delightful. I keep saying delightful. I can't stop it. I apologize. Apparently, 2017 is the year of delightful. For me, at the very least. But, so that would be my kind of preference. But in terms of really well put together character comedy and tight writing, because there's so many people, it's great. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's not funny. It's very funny. It just doesn't have the same sort of energy, I guess, that On Stage has. So that's how they compare. But it's not a negative comparison. It's just a personal preference. And I do really, really like them both. And Ernestine, I guess it never registered to me because I didn't grow up with the character. I knew the character. What an asshole the character is. She's great. The back is also, so that's the cover. The back is very simple, like a really wonderful picture of Lily Tomlin on the back. It's just a really great, that's not a funny picture. This is a serious lady. I like it. And which is perfect for today. Serious ladies demand to be taken seriously. The other thing, though, I mean, to keep in mind in terms of, the power of the female voice in comedy, is that she's a fresh face on the comedy scene, and she's got a team of writers working on this for her. So, she's got this team of people helping her put her comedy together. There's some power to that. That's very strong. And, so in that you have to respect it. But again, the comedy's great. It's very funny. It's strong character. And if you know the Ernestine character, great. If you don't, this is, I repositioned the phone anyway, so I was looking at the wrong spot. Anyway, my phone's going to die again from a day of marching. I just tried to recharge as much as I can. Anyway, this is a good primer on the character of Ernestine. The album is a ton of fun. Please give it a listen. I know that I've recommended most of the stuff we've talked about, but there are a few things I definitely haven't. But I'm a lover of comedy albums, and I hope I give you a perspective on what I like about them and what I assume you, as a comedy lover or somebody who's interested in comedy, will like about it. You know what? Do me a favor. I want to know what you think about these. Again, share this on everywhere. Hashtag comedy album a day. But you can email me, jason@comedyonvinyl.com. And yeah, do that. Subscribe to us everywhere. You can subscribe. iTunes, youtube.com/comedyonvinyl. We're at Comedy on Vinyl everywhere you can go. You can find my other stuff at stolendress.com. You can find all kinds of stuff there. Wasting time. The phone's going to die. Anyway. That's it. Please, and also, shouldn't forget to say this, support women's rights. They're human rights. Be a good person. A lot of times I listen to comedy albums and talking about comedy albums where the people were just maybe doing their best, and a lot of times not doing their best. And while I might enjoy some of the comedy every once in a while, it's not the most open-minded stuff, and I'm willing to talk about it, but I do love when I can talk about a Lily Tomlin, who is a strong woman, strong artistic vision, wonderful performer, and puts together fantastic comedy albums. Some of the best stuff that's ever been out there. And again, I know we're talking about, specifically, this is a recording, but, On Stage is a masterpiece. So, there you go. I'm Jason Klamm. Please listen to Comedy on Vinyl, and, as always, have a good thing. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry, one more time. I always say have a good thing. The final track on, not this album, the one I'm talking about tonight, is IBM. If you can somehow guess what the next album I'm going to talk about is, okay, or the next album related to IBM is, man, I'll figure out and I'll give you a prize. Email me, jason@comedyonvinyl.com. If I say IBM and you can tell me what it is, I'll give you a prize. We'll figure it out. Anyway, as always, have a good thing.